have you ever heard of a condition called CMT? It's a progressive disease which causes the muscle in our feet and hands to weaken, and in severe cases leaving sufferers unable to walk. It's believed to affect some 23,000 people in the UK. This weekend there's a special conference, the CMT UK conference, being held here in Wiltshire. And we'll be finding out more about the condition in the next hour of the programme, just after 8 o'clock. Dry for the moment, but cloud continuing to thicken as the day is expected today past 8, Saturday morning, and the breakfast show at BBC Wiltshire. Good morning. This is Graham Rogers with you through till 9 o'clock. Now, this weekend, sufferers of a rare neurological condition are gathering in Wiltshire for their 26th annual conference. The condition is CMT. Have you ever heard of that? It's a progressive disease which causes the muscles in feet and hands to weaken, in severe cases leaving sufferers unable to walk, and it can be extremely painful. To date, there's no cure. It's believed to affect some 23,000 people in the UK, but many doctors, even doctors, have never heard of it. Eileen Seeley suffers from CMT. Earlier, she spoke to BBC Wiltshire about how it affects her.
It does isolate you. You're very well aware of the fact that you can go flying for no reason at all. You fall about along with it. Your balance is impaired. It's not because you can't see. It's because your feet don't do what they should. They've had to do a lot of repair work, and I don't bounce as well as I used to. Well, I was in my middle teens when I decided I would not have family. My partner one time reckoned he could have talked me out of it, but on that one I can assure him he'd have lost out. I imagined what it would be like to have two sets of twins. But no, practically it is out, because if I fell and damaged the child before it was born, that is what worried me most.
Well, that's Eileen Seeley sharing how CMT affects her life. Well, the person responsible for making sure we all know a little bit more about CMT is with me in the studio this morning. This is Karen Butcher. She's dashed from the Hilton Hotel in Swindon, where this year's conference is being held. I have to say, Karen's a bit of a dab hand at organising the charities conference. She has done it, after all, for the past decade. Karen suffers from CMT herself. She's with me in the studio, along with fundraiser Nichola Hibbert. Good morning to you both.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Thank you very much for coming in. Karen, let's start with you. CMT. People can be forgiven for not knowing about the condition and quite what CMT is. You've had this since you were a child. So tell us, what is CMT, and how does it affect you?
CMT it stands for Charcot-Marie-Tooth disease. Charcot-Marie and Tooth were the three doctors that discovered it in the 1880s. And it is a what they call a peripheral nerve disease. So it affects the nerves from the spinal cord to the extremities, the longest nerves in the body. And that means that the feet and hands primarily are affected. And as the nerves degenerate, the muscles in those parts weaken, and you get various foot deformities, very high arched feet, very weak and unstable ankles. As Eileen was just saying, you can trip for no reason at all because the muscle that holds the foot into the right angle position when you're walking weakens. So the foot drops down and you trip over your own toes. You know, I can trip over a hair on the floor. I mean, it's as easy as that. And it's just that means then the other muscles in the legs have to compensate, and you get very tired because muscles are doing what they shouldn't have to do, you know, that they weren't designed for. And it just causes all kinds of different things you wouldn't imagine, you know, walking upstairs, balance, as Eileen was saying, walking in the dark is really difficult because you don't know where your feet are in space.
Yes,
you know, sensation is affected, and then with hands, of course, things like undoing jam jars and bottle tops and whatnot is nigh on impossible. Some people find it difficult to do buttons up or hold a pen because the muscles in the hands just weaken. My hands aren't too bad actually, but my feet are quite bad, and I've had an awful lot of orthopaedic surgery over the years to correct all the foot bone deformities.
No, it's a genetic condition, this, isn't it? So how has it affected your family?
My children are actually the 6th generation that we can trace. My mum has it, my grandfather had it, and all his family. And unlike Eileen, I chose to have children regardless. I had genetic counselling when I was 13. I knew what the risk was, and I decided to go for it in any case. There's a 1 in 2 chance of that any child would have
Good for you.
CMT. Because, it can be very severe, but in our family tends not to be so much, and I just couldn't imagine not having children. And I know some people think that that's a really selfish thing to do, that you risk, having children that are disabled. But I mean, as it happens, both my children do have the gene. Only one of them is actually affected, really, and she's fine with it. Really, she's perfectly happy with her life as it is. Really, so. What can you say? It's a personal choice. Everybody makes that choice.
How frustrating is it for you when you meet people and you say, "Oh, I've got CMT," and people go, "What's that?"
It's very frustrating, particularly when you say, or you might say, "I've got Charcot-Marie tooth," and they go, "Tooth? Something wrong with your teeth?"
Wrong with it? You should see a dentist.
I wish that guy had been called something else. Yes, and I don't really know why we've struggled so much with that, really. I mean, people know what MS is. They know what muscular dystrophy is. Even if they don't know the detail, they've heard of it, But CMT...
there's an estimated 23,000 people with this condition in the country. So, I'm surprised. I'd never heard of it. Sorry, I'd never heard of it.
It doesn't surprise me. I really don't know why it is. I think it's because it's not life-threatening. Generally speaking, people aren't significantly disabled. They can be, but it's rare. And therefore, it's kind of low priority. It's kind of at the bottom of the list of priorities for when people are thinking about charities and disabilities.
Let's bring Nichola into this, because with that in mind, you are the charity's fundraising manager. And, people always give to charities like cancer research and cancer care, that sort of thing. How difficult is your job raising money for CMT?
I think it is gaining awareness and pushing and obviously reaching those 23,000, plus generating awareness to the medical professionals. So that's kind of part of our fundraising, is to produce projects for that, and also just to get the general public involved, because we rely purely on voluntary and donations. Nothing's government funded, so everything has to come from that to move our charity forward. And we've got some great projects that we've got lined up. So it is just literally targeting the right people and having a significant plan. Our strategic plan for the next kind of 5 years is to raise 2 million. So that's my job.
Well, good luck.
Yeah, it'll keep me busy. Yeah. But no, so that's kind of the main role to go down. All
right, let's talk about what's happening in Wiltshire this weekend, because you've chosen to come to Wiltshire for your annual conference. So what are you aiming to achieve?
Basically, the opportunity, our annual conferences are an opportunity for people with CMT to get together primarily. Because 23,000 people sounds a lot, but actually that's spread over the entire UK. A lot of people have never met anybody outside of their own families with it ever. So it's a revelation when people walk into a room like that and think, there's a whole room full of people here. You get people sort of taking the shoes and socks off in a corner and comparing feet and things, and it's a fantastic opportunity for people to share their own personal experiences with people who won't go, what's that condition? So that's the main aim in a way. But we also have medical advisors come in and talk to them, so that educate them a bit. There's an orthopaedic surgeon who's flown down from Glasgow to talk to everybody today.
Great.
Who's a particularly good speaker. Our main neurological advisor, Professor Mary Riley from the National Hospital for Neurology in London, is going to be holding workshops this afternoon, and she's a very strong advocate for our charity. She's our patron as well. There's a physiotherapist from her team doing a workshop on balance and falls, and she's hoping to fund we're hoping to fund a PhD student to work with her on that self-same subject for the next 3 years. So it's all about learning a bit more how to manage the condition as well. We can't cure it, but it can be managed. But people have to, as Mary Riley always says, people have to be able to know what they're doing. They have to manage it in order for it to be manageable.
I understand.
So that's what we try and do, educate people a bit, but also give them a chance to meet other people and to socialise and to get rid of a little bit of that isolation that comes from not knowing anybody else.
Well, I wonder if people in Wiltshire, maybe somebody listening this morning has CMT, or people know someone with CMTV, or CMT. Tricked me over that. Country music television.
No!
Definitely not. If people would like to know more, do you have a website that people can find? Please tell us the website address.
The website address is www.cmt.org.uk. We are second on the Google rankings. We are after country music television. There's also, people can join us there. There's lots of information on CMT on the website. They can also make a donation as well. There's a donate now box on the homepage.
You never miss a trick, do you?
No,
absolutely not.
And we also have a Facebook page as well at facebook.com/CMTUK, so people can anybody can go onto that and find us
out
there.
More. Terrific. cmt.org.uk is the website. Karen Butcher and Nichola Hibbert, good to see you. I hope the conference goes well this weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you very much indeed for coming in to see us this morning.
That's
Most
great.
welcome.
I appreciate
Thank you.
that. It's 21 minutes past 8.